Hi guys, this is Adam from Saddle Safari. For our first video on our new YouTube channel, I just thought I'd run through the M-check, which is basically a standard check that we should do before we ride the bike anytime, just to make sure everything's safe and working well. It's called an M-check because if you follow it correctly, it essentially looks like the letter M. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start at the rear derailleur, so this bit here. Basically what we're going to be doing is just making sure the limit stops are set correctly. So if I shift into the easiest gear, I can't push the rear mech any further into the spokes, and then back down the other way, making sure that it's not going to drop off at the other end, and then obviously making sure each click indexes nicely. If they need adjusting, obviously I can then adjust them. I'll also make sure the tyres are pumped up at the same time and make sure the wheels are true. So looking between here. Moving on up, go to the brakes. So obviously if it was a mountain bike we'll do disc brakes as well, but for a road bike, make sure the pads are central on the rim and they're touching front and rear at the same time, and also left and right are touching at the same time. So I will actually move that slightly, and obviously also making sure that the pull of the lever is kind of a nice amount and we're not pulling into the bar or it's not kind of instant. From there we'll go seat post, so we need to make sure that the seat post is done up correctly, so using the appropriate tool. Obviously a torque wrench is always a good thing to use, and also saddle height, so make sure the saddle is set at the correct height for that, but I will show you that in a minute. As we move down the M, go to the front derailleur, same as rear derailleur. So what we're going to be doing is making sure the limit stops are set correctly. So if we're in the lowest gear at the back, there's kind of 1 mil of gap, and then if we go down to the highest gear, same at the other end. Okay, and then obviously making sure that everything's shifting nicely. Obviously this being electronic Di2, kind of expect it to work well, but the principle applies for anything. Also we'll do our crank bolts, so make sure the bolts are done up, torqued to the correct manufacturer's tension, so we don't want those to come off mid-ride because that's pretty bad. Going from there, we're going to go back up. This is to our kind of control centre. So firstly we'll make sure that our bars are nice and tight, torqued up to the correct tension. We can make sure our stem's done, but we'll save that for a minute, 'cause once it's off the stand I'll show you how to make sure your headset's nice and tight. And then down from there we've got our front brake, exactly the same as our rear, making sure pads touching at the same point, and also the pull of the levers nice, and obviously making sure the pads are done up. And then again with tyre, making sure tyre's pumped up, wheels true, and quick releases, which I might have mentioned in the rear. So that can be done on the stand or on the ground. You don't necessarily need a fancy stand for that. But a couple of things that you will need to take it off the stand for will be saddle height, so making sure the saddle's the correct height for you. So this bike's too small for me, but giving an idea, if I put my heel on the pedal, we should have a straight leg. So this bike's too small for me, so it's not going to quite work, but you get the idea. We'll be doing a longer in-depth video on that subject later. But also headset, not only do we want to make sure that stem's straight, we want to make sure that there's no play in the stem. So that's the other bit. And that is your M-check. So ideally, we want that done before every ride, just because if something's kind of come loose on the last ride and you haven't noticed it, it's important to check these things before you're kind of in the middle of nowhere without the support of all your tools at home. So that's our M-check. We've got a printout, two-sided. This will be on our website and on our Facebook page, Twitter soon. So if you want, download one of these and make sure you buy it. Nice and safe.
Yours, isn't it? Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.